Hey guys, and welcome back to our channel. Today's topic is the COVID vaccines. So let's jump right into it. So, ladies, with the COVID vaccine, do you think it will harm people in a certain way?
I don't necessarily think so. I don't think it's gonna be an I Am Legend kind of thing. But I do think that there might be some side effects, just like a regular flu shot, but I don't think it's as serious as like, I Am Legend.
Yeah, I would definitely say the same thing. Like, I don't think the COVID vaccine will be harmful. I mean, I really hope it isn't. I could see why a lot of people are vaccine hesitant. I get it. So, but again, we all know that every single vaccine have side effects, whether it's a meningitis shot, the flu shot, or in this case, the COVID-19 vaccine shot. So to me, in terms of like the side effects that they say that the COVID-19 vaccine has, I don't think it's something that should be worried about. The only thing is that I just hope that it doesn't get as serious, especially when we're talking specifically about the AstraZeneca shot, because I don't know if you ladies know, but in some European countries, they're banning those AstraZeneca vaccinations because there was a report that it was linked to blood clots. So my thing is, okay, well, where do we go on? Where do we move on from there? Like, what are they going to do to make sure it doesn't link to blood clots? Because blood clots is very serious. So, but that's just my only thoughts.
Okay. Do you ladies think that these vaccines are connected to the government to track us throughout life?
No, I feel like conspiracy theories. That's really pushing it. Listen, our FAA agents are already looking at us, so I don't think they really need to track us with a COVID vaccine.
What if they did?
Okay.
Well, what if they don't?
Right, because if the government can literally track us with anything that we do with our technology, whether it's our smartphones or whatever, because I mean,
I mean, they're really not going to get much from my smartphone. It's literally just like TikTok and like Instagram.
right.
I
People
don't
need
have
to
any
stop
state secrets to
conspiracy
sell.
If they want to see like a booty pic, okay, but
Right, exactly. People just need to stop with the conspiracy theories because
Yeah,
y'all really
that's
get
kind of pushing it.
yeah, because y'all really gave me like scared now. I've been like, yeah. So,
um so do you think that the vaccine is going to be a positive breakthrough to a lot of people who've gotten it?
I mean, I definitely think so because this is like what the fastest vaccine that they've made up to date, like currently. And a lot of my friends, they've gotten it since they're either like they work in the medical field or they're teachers. So it definitely gives a lot more, I think, relief to be able to, I think start going back to a regular life.
yeah, I agree with what Lillian says. I think it does give a positive breakthrough. I mean, I remember when we were still in this pandemic and the COVID-19 vaccinations were in the process of making, and they were going to put it out there, get the emergency authorization and whatnot. Don't get me wrong, I had my concerns because the fact that they made it so quick, and I didn't know what's going to be in the vaccines. You don't know what side effects it might come, especially the fact that they doing it very fast, because usually vaccinations in general, you guys know that sometimes it could take like at least up to a year or two, or how long for it to be created. But for them to do it within months, I was like, I'm not sure how I feel about that too. So, um, So that was, I think that was like my only concern that I have too. And then also, I feel like it's getting to a point where they're going to try to make everybody be required to take the vaccine, even college students. Like,
I
look
mean,
at Rutgers.
Princeton, they just
Yeah.
like print like some of the more Ivy League colleges, they've already made sure that everyone who's going to come on campus next semester is required.
Yes, that was exactly what I was going to mention. Even Rutgers University, they
Yeah.
are requiring all students to take a vaccine. I don't know how I feel about that because shouldn't y'all make sure the teachers get vaccinated first before students? But I don't know. That's just my idea of thinking. I don't know how I feel about that, but I'm just going to leave it up to the people who has the power to control whatever. So, yeah.
So, the vaccine being created so fast, why do you think they were prepared, or they had someone that was just had a significant amount of knowledge and just figuring out the ingredients to
Well,
the vaccine?
I definitely think they were learning as they were going. Like this type of messenger, like RNA kind of thing, it's so new. Like it's literally one of the newest technologies and advancements in like vaccines. Because we all know a typical vaccine is just a smaller strain of the actual whatever it is to be put in your body to fight off the actual infection. But this type of vaccine, I feel like I think it's definitely a breakthrough since they definitely, had to learn as they went. And that's what's tricky is since this type of technology is so new, you definitely don't know what are, the side effects and the risk and everything like that.
Yeah, I would say that I think um, the scientists or the medical experts who were creating the vaccines, I would say I think they were just learning as they go because this pandemic is very new to all of us. You know what I mean? We've never experienced anything like this before. I mean, of course you have the 1918 flu epidemic, but that's nothing compared to the coronavirus pandemic. This is something that's affecting us worldwide on a global level. So, I feel like it's one of those situations where I guess they're just learning as they go. Um, yeah, so that's just pretty much my thoughts on that.
Okay. Another thing, ladies, is when everybody was like dying from the COVID, how were you guys affected by that?
I mean, I definitely have to say, I definitely feel like it was definitely a blessing for me because it definitely made me slow down a lot and focus, what's actually important to me, like family, friends, and all of that. I personally didn't suffer anything from COVID other than like losing a job. But it definitely, my heart breaks for people when, like their parents, their grandparents, especially the elderly who have been very, this COVID has made everything just like, I feel like what it is that people realize that COVID is something that makes you hold your family closer. Since, everybody was going through their lives, everyone was living them. And yeah, like like some people saw their parents, some people saw their family and friends, but like this type of pandemic really made you look at, what are your actual values and how has like a death of a close one affected you.
Yeah. With this pandemic, I think it just really proves to that life is way too short. You know what I mean? Like you could see any of your family members or friends one day and then the next day they're gone. So life is just way too short. I mean, cherish the people around you, because again, you never know when they're going to disappear from this earth. So, I feel like this pandemic really taught us that, we just, like what Lillian said, we need to like be closer with our families and just appreciate the ones around us, even if we cannot see like some of our other family members from a distance because of the pandemic, but just making sure that you check up on each other like from time to time. I think that's really the most important thing. And I also feel like this pandemic really goes to show that people don't need to be extra all the time. And what I mean by extra is that you don't, like, my thing is this, right? Even if you have certain events like your birthdays or whatever, right? It's okay to make your day or your event simple. You know what I mean? So my thing is, it's like, it's stressful, and I know it's very nerve wracking. The fact that you cannot plan the way you want to plan, you can't do certain things because of the pandemic, but there's always alternatives into, making sure that, listen, you could still have a good time and make things simple. You don't have to be extra all the time. So I feel like with the pandemic, like, you can still enjoy your days the best way you can, like, even if it's not the way that you imagine it would be because of this pandemic. But it's okay to be simple. It's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to be extra all the time when necessary. So I feel like that's what the pandemic really taught us. So
Do you guys feel that people have become like more wise after this type of earthly pandemic thing?
I feel like there are some who are, but then there's some who don't, you know. I think it just kind of goes both ways. Um, as we all see today, you see some people following the guidelines, right? Taking precautions of their health and the safety around themselves and others. But then you see others who are just ignorant, don't want to follow the pandemic guidelines and whatnot, and then they get themselves into certain situations where they either get COVID or the people around them got COVID, and then from that moment, then it'll probably click on that person's mind to realize, yo, COVID is real. Like, it's definitely real. So I think it kind of just goes both ways too. Um, and yeah, and I just feel like too the pandemic kind of shows people's true colors too, as we see all throughout 2020 and going into 2021. So COVID, anybody can get COVID. Doesn't matter how old you are. Anybody can get it. Even your own family gets it. So my thing is, like, people just need to learn how to listen to the medical experts that's trying to warn y'all and tell y'all, you guys need to do this, you guys need to do that, because if you don't do this, you don't do that, you're at a risk of this, you're at a risk of that. Like, come on now. You know what I mean? Like, you have one of our best medical experts like Dr. Fauci telling y'all, wear your mask, social distance, wash your hands, and you know what I mean? And just keeping you up to date with the CDC updated guidelines. So my thing is, people, do listen to these experts and do what you need to do. Stop being ignorant, right? And thinking, oh, I'm gonna do what I want to do. I don't care what anybody says. No, no, because this pandemic really took a control on us. You know what I mean? And the only way we can get through this is if we beat this pandemic. So my thing is, if y'all are not gonna do what y'all have to do, this pandemic is really gonna take over us. Like, simple. So
All right. Well, that is the end of the show. So stay tuned for next week. And thanks for joining us.